Hello, hello.
Hey, matey.
Hello, mate. How are we feeling today?
Okay, how you doing?
Good. You excited for the matches?
Absolutely.
Same. I feel like we've got some really fun ones. I'm so excited to watch you play as well and catch you.
Yeah, I feel like you're a bit too excited for that, mate.
No, it's gonna be awesome. I feel like I've actually learned a couple things this morning. I've done things differently than I did them before. I feel like I've elevated my game a little.
That's is that because you kind of saw a bunch of different stuff yesterday?
Yeah, maybe. But also, like, I feel like I don't have to be as stuck in my certain choices. Like, you can go air, but just because you go air, that doesn't mean that, oh, now it's air all the way. You need to win the air. Like, I've had some success with just going air and then straight going back into ground and trading out some bases. And sometimes it's okay if you're like a tiny bit behind economically. But it's gonna be fun, man. First match, we've got Sturgeon, a man from the UK who's living in Korea. I've been watching his stream a little bit. And he's gonna duke it out with T-Voppa, but we can call him Alex, which is a bit easier.
Nice. That's definitely a bit easier than T-Voppa every couple of seconds.
Exactly. T-Voppa doesn't quite roll off the tongue. Alex does. Well, I think I'm ready. If you're ready and the nerds are ready, I think we can get this party started.
I just double checking one of the guys is ready. I think T-Voppa, Alex. He is. Yesterday we did all like the ready checking in the Discord. Obviously today we don't have everyone in a Discord, right? So yeah, we're just double checking everyone's ready, and we're gonna kick off into our first best of 7. We're doing 8 best of 7s again, Roddy. $200 still up for grabs on every series, and everyone from the community can try and partake.
Yep, sick. And we have no say in who gets selected, guys. This is done by a neutral party, so you don't have to worry about Wade and I playing favorites. Let's see what we are working with. Round 1. Sturgeon is a Scorpion Destroyer Shocker. No mortar there, by the way. On the other side, we've got, wow, this is basically a mirror. Well, the tier 3 favors Alex a little, but up to that point, it's a bit of a mirror.
Yeah, tier 3 is definitely going to be kind of funky with those snipers available. He's got a bulwark in there as well. I don't think I've ever seen anyone really make one of those. So.
It was the only tier 3 I had for a while because I didn't have all the units in the beginning, and actually did win one game by just sacrificing a base, going 4 bases and spamming a whole bunch of bullocks. They were kind of good, actually. I mean, they may not be as good as Cat Boss because they're a lot slower, but they were surprisingly powerful in the fight.
Well, we have our first little Scorpion skirmish setting up. As you mentioned, it is very similar units to begin with here on the Scorpion side of things and the anti-air blinks. We're actually going to see both of them going into the air as well, which is going to be a mirror for now too. So, I mean, I guess when your decks are so similarly mirrored, then you kind of got to match the other guy. It's going to be very tough to just kind of take and expand and get away with that.
Absolutely, so we might even see some expand chicken being done as well, and then the secondary tech choice. The MMR, by the way, for both players is around 10,000, so we've got some high-ranked battle aces here. Today is going to be a bit of everything. It's less about the pros than it was yesterday, as we have a big Scorpion run by the way, by Alex, and I actually feel like this is going to deal some damage, man. And defending this with just Scorpions is hard, right? Because you mentioned this yesterday. Once the Scorpions are on top of your workers, it's so hard to take care of them if you only have melee to defend. So successful run by here by Alex.
Yeah, a bunch of workers already going down. There's already a massive W, so that is a big plus. And let's just see those Scorpions will finally be cleaned up, yes, but a little bit of economy loss really does add up. We are on the other side, actually getting a few workers as well, but that's even more Scorpions going down. Both of them drop down that third base, ready for the next stage of this, and we do have air tech ready whenever one of these guys wants to start making it.
I feel like this is just airship battles now, no? Like, obviously making Falcons doesn't really seem to make any sense when your opponent has air available as well. So I think this is all about the eco right now, airship against airship, and then maybe some Scorpion run-bys to give you the economic advantage.
Lots of options as we see the Scorpions still poking at the front. The airships obviously looking to try and get involved. If you win that airship advantage and win that airship war, it's going to do so much for you, because I imagine if one guy gets like airships in his favor, then could maybe even add a couple Falcons, just gonna have so much damage to the ground that can't really be dealt with. So I feel like we might be heading that way, as we do have still Scorpions all over the place as well. The ones on the left-hand side, fight happening in the center. Pretty hectic game.
Yep, I think I like it a little bit more for Alex. I think Alex has done economic damage when it matters the most, and I feel like he should be able to get a few more airships, and then you can just kind of push through the center, because airship Scorpion moves kind of in sync. They're both relatively fast units. I think I really like this for Alex. Maybe Sturgeon can get up to tier 3, and then I would absolutely favor him, but I think that's just too expensive right now to afford it. You will always lose the airship battle.
Yep, airships are something that you just got to keep on building, and pretty much that's where all the power is going to go right now. And if you can keep that airship count somewhat similar, we should have something of a fight here. As we are going to see airships diving on each other here. So the problem is if you're being the aggressor, right, your opponent's reinforcers are going to come sooner. And the moment you have less, it's going to get very one-sided very quickly. As this is absolutely going better and better for Alex right now as he continues to just power through, and he's going to win big time on the ground, which means he might even have enough to go across the map and make something happen on this third base.
I would not hate it. I think he's got the numbers, and I actually think we could take perhaps an early look at a 1-0 lead for the challenger today. I mean, are the community streamers, are the pros in trouble? Even though this is a good airship battle at first, Alex needs to make sure that those airships in the top right actually starts participating. Because the fight in the air, I would say, is a tiny bit more important than the one on the ground. But if you have a lot of Scorpions left over, you can obviously get on top of the workers. And even if you lost a couple of additional airships, I think you're gonna be okay if you can just get some worker damage. Maybe you can go for the main. Nope, doesn't want to go for the main. But the center, though, he has wiped out every single worker there. And he might actually get the base warding.
Yeah, it looks as though it's going to be tough to keep that alive. I mean, some airships coming over to try and play the defense. We're actually going to give it up for the moment in terms of just not going for the kill. As we did kill a lot of workers anyway. Of course, right now the entire third base pretty much just not mining. And that should give you some time to mine a lot more and to maybe get back into that airship battle and just, you know, win that. And again, winning the airship battle should generally win you the war, as long as it's not kind of winning the airship battle on the most defensive position you can take.
I do really like how Alex has been looking for the Scorpion run-bys throughout the entire game. And I also feel like this is the kind of best of 7 that Sturgeon probably doesn't want to play throughout all of it. So I'm expecting deck changes next game. He did handle the airship battle on his side of the map a tiny bit better, because Alex had a couple of airships just shooting at Scorpions. But I still think Alex is far enough ahead that he can justify all of this. But this time around, it's Surgeon, who actually has a very good Scorpion run-by. He's going to get a bunch of workers, but the same thing will happen on the other side.
Yeah, workers are going to be in some trouble as the Scorpions get active and busy. Just going to have ourselves the... And again, just, I mean, so many workers have died this game. It's kind of tough to keep on top of how much mining each of these guys have actually had, because it's definitely been less mining than you usually expect to have. Of course, here is the base, though, low from earlier, and now will go down, and that's a massive advantage to Alex, who is just going to be super far ahead from that.
Does Alex have to fear the tier 3 of Sturgeon, sorry?
Yeah, well, actually, potentially, because the Valkyries are extremely good anti-air units, so they're going to lay... I don't know what a Valkyrie looks like against an airship is the only problem, because airships are also anti-air units, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I guess he doesn't have to worry, because Sturgeon just can't afford to build any right now, so... I'm going to go ahead and say I think it's going to be alright. I just can't imagine the Valkyries are so good against airships that's going to, like, wipe the floor with all of them, so... Especially, like, the few that he can build, he's only built one so far, so... Yeah.
If Sturgeon was richer, maybe it would have a big impact. Right now, it shouldn't really have an impact. I think maybe he misclicked as well, because he accidentally has a Falcon in the middle. I mean, sure, great damage against the ground, but that's just not really what you're looking for right now. It is truly about the battle in the skies. Another massive Scorpion run-by. They're going to get on top of all the workers in the main base. It's a final battle in the center. I have the feeling this one should always go Alex's way. And I think that means that we are looking at a 1-0 lead for the challenger. I don't think that Sturgeon can really turn this one around anymore. He's just too far behind economically. Yep,
I think we're pretty much going to be just done here. He's going to lose that third base again. Sturgeon's just not going to be able to stay in this and keep up. As our Scorps and our airships are going to do way too much, and that is 1-0, as you say, to the challenger.
Uh-oh. Is our squad in trouble already, what? I feel an alliance over here, you know? I hope you know I'm going to be mega biased for you.
You're going to be mega biased for me? Okay. You're going to have to be, mate, otherwise there might not be much to say.
Yeah. I mean, these two guys run an incredibly similar deck, and I do have the feeling that Sturgeon has been experimenting a lot, has played a lot of different styles. I've seen him on stream as well. I cannot imagine him looking at this and be like, oh yeah, I want to do this for potentially 5, 6, 7 games in a row. Just playing pure Scorpion airship against each other. I don't know. I feel like there are many more fun ways to play, and if you have confidence in your skill, I think there are better ways to translate that skill as well.
Yep. No, that's a very good way of putting it, as we'll get ourselves ready for game number 2 here. See if there's going to be any deck changes heading into our second game of this best of 7. Again, big games coming up. I do think we're going to see some longer games today. Not necessarily longer series, but like just individual games being longer, because yesterday was a bit more cutthroat. I think today is going to be a bit more kind of back and forth and dueling it out and a few comebacks and so on.
Yep, I think it's going to be all over the place as well. Somebody asking about the format. It's similar to yesterday. We are just playing best of 7. So it's a 1-0 lead right now for Alex, our red player in the top right, Sturgeon. He is the one representing us, the streamers, the community members in the bottom left. And he goes for one base, a Scorpion King Krabby potentially. But there are destroyers. I mean, if we just settle for killing the expand, that's something we've seen before. That's not too bad. If we try to straight up win the game, I think it's going to be bad for Sturgeon.
Yeah. I think that really comes down. What we saw yesterday, the trend was kill the base and get out. You can actually get a lead. If you try and actually win the game, head to the main, you're going to have a bad time. So that seems to be where the one base opener is going. And yeah, basically just looking to punish someone who instantly drops down that expansion every single game. As we now go for the air tech here from Alex. So he's going to go into the skies, which is going to be pretty powerful. But the problem is, I feel like Falcons are going to work great in, like, you know, good numbers against the kind of anti-air blink. The problem is getting good numbers when you're likely going to be losing your natural early could be very difficult to afford.
Yep. And it's also tricky because you want to build Falcons because Falcons do way more damage than airships. But if you're building Falcons and your opponent expands and just goes airships, then your Falcons are not going to be very useful anymore. So incredibly curious to see how this one goes out. Scorpions keeping each other busy, but here come the King Krabbies from a Sturgeon, and he's just going to right-click down this base. We have one Scorpion in the main of Alex. It's not going to do a whole lot. For the people who are wondering what about deck changes, everyone is allowed to change their deck every single game. King Krabs are going to get on top of this base. That base is going to die very quickly. The air tech is just not ready in time. And what will Sturgeon do now? He expands. And I kind of think he's going to go air himself, but he's still in the main. And now you're actually kind of forced to build Falcons. I don't think he really wants to build Falcons, but he's forced to do it.
Yeah, I think he actually wanted to spend his money right now on re-expanding, right? But now you build the Falcons, and now you have to focus on getting across the map, and it is definitely going to slow down that expansion. I mean, he does not have any power. He's got 100 power. He's just going to go for it. He builds another Falcon, so he's just going to full send and believe that he can maybe just overpower with that sky power.
That's actually kind of cute. I like the idea of just staying on one base right now, saying like, I am too far behind to expand, and we full send it. I mean, sure, these things are slow, but eventually they're going to make their way to the other side of the map. I would not waste any time chasing these Scorpions around. Let your reinforcements deal with that, right? He just needs to get on top of the main, and Sturgeon now realizes, like, uh-oh, this is actually going to become scary. He might have to do like maybe one King Krabby, one Shocker, and then nothing but anti-air guys. But if he goes pure anti-air guys, they're gonna get absolutely blasted by the Scorpions.
He's got no money. He just doesn't have money for it, man. It's just such a weak economy and to afford what you kind of need to afford here. And these few Scorpions are already going to be putting in the work. So many Scorpions across the map are doing damage, but I just do not see these Falcons dying. Wow. They are just so good right now and probably unkillable. By the time Sturgeon gets his air tech online, he's just not going to have money left. This entire base is going to be absolutely gone.
This is a great call by Alex, an absolutely fantastic call, just to go ham on the Falcons, not one or two Falcons and then go airships and try to expand. No, just spend every single penny you have on Falcons and fly them to the other side of the map. They may be slow, but eventually they're going to be exactly where you want them to be. And I believe this is a fight that he will win. He's kind of just ignoring the blink anti-air guys as well, and he's going for the core immediately. GG, 2-0 for the challenger. Alex came to play.
That's our first death by core kill as well.
Say again, sorry?
First time we've seen someone win by killing like the core straight up in these matches.
Yeah, actually, I think you're right. I was like, man, we've seen so many games, and yeah, I played a couple games myself, and it absolutely did come down to that because I'm a bit of a base trader, Waddy. If I feel like I can't fight the army, I'm just sending it. But yeah, you're spot on. That is our first official core kill. 2-0 for the challenger. Do we have a name for us, by the way? Like, what are we? We're not just streamers. We're not just casters. Well, what are we? We're definitely not pros.
Yeah, they're not quite pros. The community... I have no idea.
Are we just the content creators? Are we that lame?
We're the content, yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's what we are. Maybe we can find a better name for us. 2-0 for Alex, as he had an MMR deficit coming into this match. But yeah, he's showing us great understanding so far. Sturgeon obviously completely switched it up. He went for the one base. But yeah, great answer. I absolutely love the call to just stay on one base. Spend all your money on Falcons, and yeah, they are slow, Waddy, but they'll get right where they need to be. Because it takes a little while for a one base player like Sturgeon. You spend money on an expand, but you only get money out of that. Like after all this work is finally spun, takes a little while. And if you then also have to tag up to airships, yeah, but at that point, the Falcons will be right where they want to be. I really love that. We haven't seen that yesterday, but I think this was a very smart answer to that one base play.
Yep. No, it was very cool. Like I say, it was just very. We've already talked a lot about getting kind of answers to Falcons up and how the tier 1 anti-air doesn't always do it. Well, now we're going to see what happens as we go into game 3, because Sturgeon, his plans are just not kind of coming off, as we're going to play a little bit of chicken apparently in terms of what we do early. No one expanding, no one teching.
Alright, now are the expense. I kind of feel that you can always, with these scenarios, I do kind of feel like you can always expand. Especially because Steve Oppa doesn't have a fast unit like a King Crab. Like, what are you going to do? A one-base shocker all in? I wouldn't be worried about that.
Yeah, with you.
2-0 for Alex in the top right. So obviously the beta will end Sunday night, right? Or is it Monday morning for us, Wally? I'm going to miss it, man.
I don't know the time. I don't know the time, but yeah, I'm going to miss it too. And it's been fun to just, you know, the best thing about playing this is like you can really just pick it up for like half an hour, play a whole bunch of games and be very happy and just be like, okay, I'm gonna go do my other thing now, right? Like you try and play StarCraft 2 for half an hour, you play one game, it's like a miserable experience. Your mechanics aren't quite there yet. It's you really need to sit down and grind SC2 or something, but like this game I can pick up and put down a lot more easily.
I am incredibly familiar with that, mate. It takes me an hour to play my first decent game. But yeah, I've had a lot of moments where I know family is coming in like 20 minutes. It's like, oh, I can do like 3 games in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Send it. All right, so we have very different approaches here. It's 3 bases for Sturgeon, the man who's down 0-2 in this $200 best of 7. As Alex is going to go for 2-base Shocker Destroyer. I actually do think this is going to be very difficult for Sturgeon. He's going to have to somehow buy time, right, with run buys. But it is natural. He thinks he should be the aggressor here. His natural was wide open, Waddy. Alex with another little Scorpion run by. These Scorpion run bys have been deadly.
So good. Just split 6 of them off, get them across the map without being seen, and they can get so much done. You can get so much value from this. As we do have the Scorp setting up on the right-hand side. And we'll see if we can win a fight here. I actually do not mind the commitment from Sturgeon on those units on the third. He's going to lose the fight on the right side eventually, but Scorpion fight's obviously pretty slow, right? They're not like, you know, volatile or deadly. So they're a little bit slow going. You've got time to kind of reconsider, back away, and then go again. Shockers are out. I mean, fights right now feel as though they should be incredible on the side of Alex.
Yep, and I love as well leaving one Shocker at home. He's going to send the other Shockers, but they are a bit exposed. Maybe the Scorpions could have gone for it there. I don't know how that would have gone. But obviously Sturgeon needs something. It's so painful that he's the one who lost workers. He's now spending all his money on Shockers. They were misrallied for a split second. I mean, maybe he's incredibly good in Shocker Wars. He can absolutely still turn this into something. And he's keeping the base alive. I would say that's the most important thing. 87 supply against 87 supply. Shocker Wars, Waddy. All out Shocker Wars.
All out Shocker Wars. I'm worried about the Shockers on the left side. That they're not going to have enough protection to really keep them safe. Yeah, I mean, a few shots from your opponent's Shockers, and it can all go wrong. Interesting how we see a couple of Destroyers added in as well, just in case maybe there's some King Crabs coming up, because I don't actually think the Destroyers do that good against the Shockers themselves.
No, they have to get very close, right? And it's a lot about the Scorpions as well. I think Destroyer is amazing against King Crabs, very good against Crusaders. I think a little bit less impactful in the Shocker Wars.
We see the Shockers still approaching here, and this third base might be in some trouble. We do see Scorpions trying to run by on the bottom side of the map, so that is happening while the Shockers get back at it. But it actually is Alex who's kind of taking a lot of shots on his Shockers. Still trying to pull back here. The Scorpions got all the way into the main base. I mean, going to get some workers, and it's going to deny reinforcements for a little bit, so that is huge. And we're starting to kind of still hold our third.
Kind of wish that we could just see the Shocker count right now, because I feel like that's the most important thing. Some good hits there by Alex. It did look like Sturgeon was getting the best of Alex there for a little while in these Shocker Wars. As now it just really comes down to micro, right? Who takes the better fight? The numbers are even, the armies are even, the workers, the units that we work with are even. I love splitting off one Shocker and completely obliterating that worker line.
Yeah, that was such a good move.
It's happening so on much the other side as well. Buddy.
Yeah, everyone's realizing the power of the Shocker run by. Look at him go. So that's going to be a mineral line for a mineral line. Maybe this one doesn't quite get the full mineral line, but still pretty darn good. I mean, 3/4 of it. You take those, and the third base here is barely mining as well. So just across the board, we are still mining more as Alex. 2-0 in this series, and honestly feels good at the moment in this game as well.
Yep, it feels that if Sturgeon could get heavy ballistas, he's absolutely cooking. But he's probably afraid that A, he might lose Shocker Wars, and B, he might actually lose the snipers later on. As I don't know if I like this fight. I mean, Alex is winning at the top, Sturgeon is winning at the bottom. In the end, it's a whole bunch of Shockers and a couple of Destroyers remaining. Looks very promising for Alex, the challenger who already has the 2-0 lead, as he just took a fantastic fight there. He won very, very decisively at the top of that circle in the center of the map. Lost a little bit out on the bottom, but it's okay. That was a big win. That was perhaps the biggest win of the game so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Now can take position and keep on pushing. I think we can just kind of keep on pushing in here. We have so many more shockers. The concave doesn't matter. We actually dive up top and just get rid of some of the units up there. And we actually make this work out on Sturgeon's side. I do not think so. I think Alex has just got too many shockers. At this point, you're never going to play catch-up, right? And I think this is just good control, but also just good harassment. Constantly seeing some workers going down on that other side and just constantly Alex mining more and more throughout the course of the entire game. And now as shockers spawn, they're just kind of getting picked off one at a time. It's a 3-0 lead.
A shocking victory. I stole that from Twitch chat.
Yeah, I know, that's I was like, I didn't realize they asked Fear Dragon to cast this one with me.
No, that was Twitch chat, but I liked it. Alex is playing incredibly well. I really thought Sturgeon had it. I thought he turned it around. I felt that he had his shockers in the right spot when he was like right in range of that third base of Alex. Economies were relatively even at that point. I thought it was his game. I thought at this point we'll just keep on pushing. We'll force our opponent to run into us. We'll get the better shots off, but somehow Alex kept it together defensively, always sharking around, looking for those Scorpion run-bys. And honestly, I'm very surprised, man, because I've been watching Sturgeon stream and he looks damn good. He's over 10,000 MMR. But these challenges, Waddy, are nothing to scoff at, apparently.
I'm scared, man. Is this what we're going to have to play against all day?
Oh, man. I don't want to get 0-4. Can I at least get a map or two?
I'd be happy to win a fight at this point, man. Like,
please let me expand in peace and then I'm happy.
Yeah, if I can survive 2 minutes in the game, I'm good.
3-0 for Alex in the top right side. And once more, we're playing a little bit of tech expand chicken. Can Sturgeon turn it around? $150 on the line for the winner of this best of 7. The loser gets a 50. Hey, okay, we expanded proper late there, right? Even though Alex was like a couple seconds quicker there.
Yeah, I mean, they were just waiting and finally we gave in, so... It's kind of like... The thing is, if you wait and then expand, surely that's absolutely no different to just instantly expanding. You know? Like, this is... such a weird concept, because if you're both waiting, I don't know, like if you're gonna expand, I feel like you should just expand.
Yeah, but I think they're worried about the one base all in, right? And like maybe if the opponent would go one base, they want to go defensive one base.
Yeah, but like, is it not just? I guess it would still be later, so you have more money banked up once your tech does come online. So. And
maybe as well, it would make sense if you feel like you're the favorite, that you just want to do the same thing as your opponent. Like, if you feel that you are the superior player and you just want to make sure you don't really lose on strategy and it all comes down to execution, that you try to mirror what your opponent does. But if you both think you're the favorite, yeah, then it's awkward, right? Yeah, no, it's some very good points to think about. I mean, we are still toying with the first ideas of like competitive play in this game, right? So many things to kind of look at, and we're going to go back to game 1 here in terms of just airships, most likely versus airships. And seeing who can airship better than the other guy. Yep, and obviously Sturgeon needs to make sure that he's got some vision right above his natural, because it's been the Scorpion run-bys that really has made all the difference in this best of 7. He's now looking with his entire army. I don't think that's quite necessary. Look at that man. That man has been hurt by Scorpion run-bys. He's sending 20 Scorpions to the top left. Needs to be very careful because he's not winning that fight in the center, but he should win that fight against the run-by. I actually kind of like what Alex has done here. He's already snuck in just a couple of Blink Hunters to get a little bit of that range damage going.
Yeah, that's actually really nice. And the run-by is actually going to end up on some workers, which again just keeps a whole lot of units over there. I love the few Blink Hunters. They're able to just put some extra shots out, and that goes such a long way. As you can see, the additional Blink Hunters arriving here. The first airship showing up. Obviously, as you build Blink Hunters, you're not going to afford airships yourself, but you will have an answer to airships, because airships are not really good air to ground. This is maybe where you actually want to build some Falcons on the side of Sturgeon, but that's scary. He's actually going into Valkyries, so he's going for his tier 3 tech already. So if he survives this, he will be in a very good spot, but does he survive this?
He's going to need mass Scorpions for a while, right? I mean, if your opponent is spending a lot of their money on the Blink Hunters, then maybe you can just kind of overcome their Scorpion numbers, and that is what we are starting to look at. That went well for Sturgeon. I was worried for him there, because kind of felt that the Blink Hunters would contribute a little bit more to the battle than the airships. And we do have our first with Falcons, by the way. The man who's down 0-3 is fighting back, and he's looking good, as he's got 3 base against 3 base, and he's got tier 3 Starforge.
My question is just, are the Valkyries that worthwhile? Those is just airships. We're going to find out as we're going to come forwards here. A lot of blinkers in the back doing a lot of damage. The airships are going to dive forwards, and they are just going to get rid of those first few Valkyries. So they go down, and suddenly the Scorpions are just getting chased. There's not a lot of Scorpions left for Alex, but he completely dominates this fight otherwise, and he's looking absolutely gold. He's going to chase this down, and I'm not sure these new Valkyries are going to get to survive either. They are going to get blasted.
Yeah, maybe the Falcons were too expensive to justify because they just melted against all these airships. I mean, Alex was just saving, right? Alex was waiting. He made a couple blink hunters and he said, I'm waiting, and I'm waiting until you build the wrong units and I'm going to punish you for it. And now it's once more an all-out airship battle. It's airships against Valkyries. Valkyries are good, but are they good enough to really hold the line here? Scorpion's doing very well here for Scorpion, by the way, but I feel like that's just a matter of time. Eventually, it really is all about air numbers. Yeah, what do you do now? Like, do you go back into Falcons? Do you think Falcons show up in time? Nope, he's just going for more Valkyries.
I guess you go more Valkyries and just hope they can hold their own. I'm just worried about how much anti-air blinks there are, right? It just doesn't feel like there's enough Valkyries to truly fight those, and you can just blink underneath them. So this is going to be Alex just continuing to come through. And how about that for an absolute display here in our opening series? Our challenger is going to look good. And he's got so much money banked up as well right now. He could build so much more. Maybe just trying to check what his opponent is still building before he truly adds all of his money into the build he is going to build around the units now. Killed the third base, still blinking on top of units, and Sturgeon, unfortunately, is just going to fall 0-4. That's not a good day to be a content creator, Roddy.
Maybe the caster aces are already in some serious trouble here. Congrats to Alex for winning 150 bucks 4-0. An absolute clinic. Just looked very good, looked smart, had an answer for everything. 1 point was a one-base player, but even the one-base Falcon managed to get the job done. Alex was amazing. Alex was absolutely amazing. Well done. Congrats, Alex. He said, let's go. I'm fucking shaking. Well, that's all. That's allowed, mate. That's what competitive video gaming will do to you. You played very well. Congrats on the win. Awesome. Settle the prediction. Do we have a next opponent ready? So next up is Indy, right? Indy's gonna hold down the fort for us, Waddy.
Yeah, surely Indy doesn't let us down.
If I think of a gamer, I normally think of Demu, but if I'm not allowed to think of Demu, I think of Indy, man. That man is a gamer.
Yeah, he's just good. He's not as all-around a gamer in terms of, like, you know, Demu plays a lot of the games. Indy just is a StarCraft gamer and an RTS gamer, I suppose.
Who does Alex play? Do we have an opponent for him yet? Yes, we have. It is Haluk. Oh, I think they are friends as well.
Yeah, apparently Haluk's one of Indy's viewers.
Yeah. But I played against Haluk this morning, and I think I lost. I feel like, I think he beat me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You've been warming up the enemy, Roddy. Oh, yeah, you're giving them confidence.
I was trying to warm myself up, and I am warm, but mostly because I'm shaking in my boots. Alright, so same rules for this one. It is another best of 7 that obviously starts off as 0-0. The winner of this series gets 150 buckies. The loser gets 50. I think this will be very competitive. Indy is good. He's smart, but yeah, when I played against Haluk this morning, I also had the feeling that he was very good, so... I
see a lot of these guys who I played, like... I didn't get to play as much for the last week or so, right? So I saw a lot of these guys' names, like... 3 weeks ago when the beta first came up, and I remember playing them all in the first few days, and I was like, man, why are some of these guys so good? And now I see some of them like 10,000, 11,000 points. I'm like, oh, that's why, because you were just naturally meant to be good at this game.
Yeah.
You just hadn't ranked up yet.
I had it a few times as well, where I saw somebody and it was like, man, they're low ranked and I'm getting absolutely blasted. But then I played them again 4 days later, and they suddenly had 3,000 points more than me. I was like, oh, yeah, that's totally fair. It made sense that I got blasted.
Yeah.
I guess we switched back to Europe, right? By the way, sorry. I'm just sleeping.
Probably. I forgot
how to apply for the next tournament. I mean, this is the last one. Yesterday we had 8 best of 7s. Today we have 8 best of 7s. Obviously tomorrow night the beta temporarily goes offline. But obviously once the next phase is back, obviously we're gonna run stuff. I mean, I don't know about you, Waddy. I can't speak for you, but I'm sure that we're gonna run some stuff, right?
Yeah, I would think so. The game is fun. It's a nice change of pace. I can't imagine it. It's genuinely just fun tournament-wise as well, right? Like, I'm super. The thing is as well, there's so many different formats you can run. Like, this is just like pick your deck and change your deck as you wish. But I've already seen people doing like the loser gets to change their deck, the winner can change one unit or something like that. Like, there's just so many different ways to play it.
Yep, I'm very excited to get creative in the future. So I would say, obviously, A, keep a close eye on the official Battle Aces Discord, because almost all tournaments in the future will obviously be promoted there. But B, you can also join Discords of, let's say, myself, Wardy, or any other content creator that is already running tournaments, and just keep a close eye on it. And if you don't use Discord, I think Twitter will probably work. If you don't use Twitter either, then I would just stay very active on Twitch and hope you can somehow get the memo.
Yeah. Just be active in general. I'll get the job done for you.
Yeah.
So
our second series, guys, Indy is currently sitting at 8,646 MMR. In case you guys are unfamiliar with Indy, Indy is a Polish StarCraft 2 player. He normally plays Protoss. He's also a Polish caster. He's also an observer. He's also a producer, because he's even had a dead roll once at an IM Katowice. We love Indy, all-around great guy, very well respected within the StarCraft community. And he's gonna duke it out with his viewer, Haluk? What are we going for here, Waddy?
Yeah, like Haluk, like hallucination, maybe. Haluk. I don't know.
Let's go with Haluk.
Haluk?
I like Haluk.
Yeah, I like Haluk too. We have officially named him.
Take a look at the decks as we obviously enter a new best of 7. Indy's gonna kick things off with the Recallers, and he's got that gnarly combo of Mortar and Destroyer. His opponent also has Destroyers, but has Shockers, and is gonna play Blink. Yeah. Or Scorpions, obviously. He can also play Scorpions, but that is not what he's going to do. He's going to be playing with the Blinky boys.
The Blink opening is quite potent. It's a little scary because you don't have a lot of anti-air options if you play ground as Haluk, right? So, you know, you're kind of very much so going to have to be careful with when you tech and what you tech into, so that third base comes down initially. We expect that from Indy, who's got the Recallers. Playing that forward third base is just so good. And he's going to be moving these around and trying to catch these Blinks. For the early stage, just make sure they don't get anywhere too sneaky.
You know, the Recallers are very strong in the straight-up fight, but they are slow, and it's always important to keep in mind that some fights may look good, but the moment you exactly make the halfway point of the map, and your opponent is going to have much quicker reinforcements, you have a couple of Scorpions showing up as well. Not sure if I'm a mega big fan of that, but the Scorpions are going to be tanky, and it does allow the Blink guys to actually get a lot of big shots off. Not a bad trade, I would say, by Haluk. I think I can live with it.
There's another round of Scorpions. I just think at this point, I'm kind of with you, where it's like, I almost feel like I'd rather just see more Blinks, because yes, the Blinks are a bit more fragile, but they can just deal so much more damage the more and more of them there are. So definitely an interesting one, as we see a little dive around the left-hand side, and going to force the recall over here. It's going to free up the way to actually get back out over on the right.
Indy tacking up to Mortar Destroyer, while Haluk has actually gone Starforge. We've got Falcons and airships and potentially some Valkyries way down the line.
Bringing that through as our recall back into position, and you can see those recallers starting to put some damage out onto these Scorpions again, so some extra hits coming about. Now going to be seeing the Scorpions and the Blinks continue forward. The recall's taking a lot of damage. A few Scorpions already peeled off onto the worker line.
Recall maybe? Yeah, I would have loved the recall towards the top right, and maybe you would have been able to get 1 or 2 more shots off, but I mean, I don't know if Indy wants to play against Falcons though, playing against 3-base against 3-base and your opponent having Falcons, and then the only thing you can make are those Blink Hunters. I don't know if you're going to be very excited with that. We see the first few Blink Hunters already showing up. That's proper early, especially if we're worried about Falcons, because Falcons are slow.
Yep, they're going to take a long time to come across the map as the fleet of them starts, but there is a fleet of them as well. So you're going to need a bit, you need to keep these Blink Hunters alive, and that's what a couple mortars are here for as well to help protect. However, it's the Scorpions into the natural, and whoever's been getting Scorpions freely onto naturals has generally been seeing a lot of success. So we're only going to kill a couple workers, but it's still not bad.
Especially because Indy needs cash right now, right? He needs to spend all of his pennies on those Blink Hunters, and he just doesn't have enough of them at the moment. Is this another game where Falcons are just going to fly to the other side of the map forward? Blink there by Indy has got the Rico as well. Maybe not a bad fight, but the Falcons are actually pretty damn tanky, and getting 1 or 2 looks exciting, but we've got extra Falcons showing up as well. I don't think this is going Indy's way. Indy thought that he could blink forward there and to the Rico his army, and that it was going to go his way. But the Falcons are simply too powerful, too beefy, and they deal so much damage. They may be slow, but they are so damn good against Tier 1 NTR. Do you have a favorite Tier 1 NTR against Falcon? Wardy, I'm asking for a friend.
Tier 1? I don't think it exists, man. Like, they're so freaking good. Like, they just, because they're beefy. So yes, they're slow, but oftentimes, like, you end up in the situation where, like, I guess the idea is you're meant to be able to attack around them, but they just don't care. They will just move across the map, and they will just win out. Because whatever you can kind of try and counterattack with and move around with just doesn't do as well as the Falcons do once the Falcons are on your base. So it's like it's kind of a rough one. I feel like the missile bots did okay against them yesterday, better than other things that we've seen at least. But I wouldn't say they did great.
What I also think is incredibly important, if you like go down the route that Indy went down, is like we're always tempted to build at least a couple of tier 2 units, right? Because like, oh, we've got tier 2 foundry, this is where we get strong units. But I really don't see the purpose in having multiple mortars or even destroyers, and I don't think Indy made too many of them. But even the 2 mortars may have just been a single mortar too many, because I really think you need to spend all your pennies on your tier 1 NTR. And if that's going to be good enough, I have no idea, but that second mortar, it just doesn't add anything.
I think there's something to be said about just the confidence of sticking with your tier 1 anti-air, because I think numbers is the answer. And if you build any sort of other tech that isn't just directly anti-air against it, like, be fair, you know, all the money that was spent on the side of, the side of Haluk was all money that he spent going into those Falcons, right? So if they're all your money's invested in those Falcons, then it kind of makes sense that, yeah, you kind of got to spend all your money on kind of answering the Falcons, otherwise you're going to have a bad time. So I'm with you on that one. But it's obviously very scary because you feel like you need a couple of mortars just to help hold the ground, and you just got to kind of believe in your units.
We are waiting for Haluk to join, guys. We're not just sitting here theory crafting for fun. Maybe he's so excited that he thinks it's over, but that was only the first round, mate. It's the best of 7. All right, there he is. He has joined the lobby for our second game. So he takes the 1-0 lead. This also means, Waddy, that the challenges are now 5-0 over the caster aces. What is happening? Why are we so bad?
Yeah, can we get some actual? We need to go back and get some bias on the picks of the challenges, man. Turns out a neutral slate was not good for us.
We need a not so innocent hand to select these players from the Discord. It's like, wow, you're 2700. I believe you have a great future.
Look, I saw some 2 to 3K players in that chat channel. Let's give them a shot. You know what I'm saying?
That's what communities are all about. All right, we have a fast expand coming out of Indy. Haluk waiting a little bit. Actually, just building a whole bunch of blink guys off. This is interesting. He's not teching. He's rushing tier 1 blink. Yeah, is that? Can you overrun the recallers? Is that a thing, Wadi?
Recallers, I've always felt like recallers are the most fragile super early, right? Where not just the fact that like they can pack a punch, but like if you start losing out a couple of these recallers, it can be rough. And I actually think if the Scorpions get in front and the blinks are able to kind of just survive and just deal damage throughout.
I feel like Indy should not fight yet. Sorry to interrupt you there. What I think Indy should really do is wait until the absolute last second. Has Indy not checked? Does he think his opponent is stacking or anything? Indy needs to wait until the workers spawn. Only at that point I think he should ever start fighting. I don't think you have to worry too much about losing your Nexus. Alright, if he's really committing for it, now you can start battling. Indy needs to make sure that he keeps on reinforcing.
Yeah, get more units, a few more Scorpions showing up on the side of Haluk, but I'm not sure that this is really doing it just yet. The recallers are doing pretty well. He got a lot of free damage off on Scorpions while they were hitting the base. That said, the base is obviously still low, so you've got to keep defending it. It looks like we're almost there. Scorpions in the front again, but the blinkers are just so much lower HP than they've ever been before.
Yep, and they were a bit too far behind there, right? We actually lost 3 Scorpions there before the blinkers were in range, and Haluk will wave the white flag. Indy does pull off the hold and gets the first win on the board for the caster aces. We're back, Waddy.
We're back, yes. Don't call it comeback, it was just a minor blip.
I think either you go all out on the units, or I just think there was like a small micro error or two there on the side of Haluk twice.
I think he just took so much damage when he was targeting the base as well. I just don't think you can do that, right? Like, he put so much damage on the base, which is fine and all, but not if you're losing like 6 Scorpions to do it, because then that's your entire front line. So, cool idea, but yeah, I think you're right. My execution and micro wasn't quite there.
Yeah. I don't know if it would have gone his way otherwise, because I haven't really seen that kind of a one-base rush yet. We've always seen the one-base Wasp rush, and we've seen a few others, but I haven't really seen the one-base Blink Scorpion rush yet, but it is a thing.
Yep. These guys are aggressive.
There are no rules today, Claire. We don't run any rules for this tournament. People can just swap units in and out throughout the entire best of 7. No rules. In the future, maybe we'll obviously start implementing rules and we will start theory crafting on what we can do, but for these best of 7 show matches, there are no rules whatsoever.
No
the
rules,
only rule is that you're
fun.
not allowed to lie about your MMR when you're applying in the Discord. That's the only rule.
Oh, crap. Alright, 1-1. We're going to get a little bit more of a series on our hands as we have got in the bottom left. It is Indy, who is very much so changing it up a little bit, right? He didn't have heavy hunters before, so he's got heavy hunters now
Yeah, he had
available as well.
destroyers, didn't he? He had the mortar destroyer. And yeah, that's actually good because he lost that game against Falcons, obviously. And maybe Indy says like, all right, there's no need for destroyers on my side. And also, I think mortars completely does the job against destroyer shocker combo.
I look at, to be fair, I kind of like what he's done because I look at Haluk's army, or look at Haluk's deck, and I'm like, well, I feel like Haluk's going to be very tentative to play ground anyways, because if he plays a ground and Indy just makes dragonflies, he just has nothing. Like, he has nothing that shoots up, right? So I feel like he's more so looking to play into the air tech anyways, so if you just kind of counter that a bit more difficult, if he does end up playing ground, I feel like Indy's going to have options anyways. We are going to play ground as Haluk, so we'll see how that works out, see if it's something Indy can abuse given time.
I wonder if we get to see an interaction between snipers and advanced blinks, because that is not one that I'm familiar with.
Not seen that one myself, gotta be honest. I can only like snipers die pretty quick, so I imagine the blinks will just get on top of them because the snipers are very slow as well, and you might get a couple shots off, but the blinks will close the distance unless the snipers are well protected, right?
Indy is adventurous with his recallers, but he's got them out in pretty large numbers, and obviously they are somewhat tanky and they pack a punch early on. So nice activity in the end. Does decide to go for the teleport home, play it safe, does not want to lose any workers early on. I would kind of like, I think, Haluk to almost go immediately tier 3 here. I feel like that is the play, because I don't think you're going to get much value out of his tier 2 combo. The destroyers and shockers, I just don't see them be very successful, so I think you fire up tier 3 almost immediately. He says, absolutely not, Roddy. I'm going to spend every single penny I have on shockers. All right?
Shocking our way across the map as the first mortars are setting up from India, trying to establish his third base. Obviously, that investment in the third base is money not spent on tech units. And that may be where Hulk gets an advantage. He did spend just a little bit more power on tech units as well. Destroyers on the way out with another shocker. So all that continues through as a few scorpions slip on over to the left-hand side. And they're going to once again just find the open natural. Man, the naturals have been so open yesterday and today.
Yeah, I think that's something we're going to see throughout the entire history of this game. Naturals will be open. In a game where it's so easy to just grab all your units and send them to a spot, and it feels so often that you need every single unit. In the end, though, Indy does hold the third base. I was wondering if for a split second, can the shockers do a lot of damage to the base? Can the blink guys blink on top and get on top of the mortars? But none of that happened, so it will be a 3-base economy for Indy, even though he needs to wait until 6 of his workers come back in the natural.
Our midcalls will take to the front then, and we have no further tech yet coming into play as Indy is going to have one mortar in the front getting taken down a little bit too on its own, but the Shocker's got to be careful. If they walk into mortar range, they're going to get blasted, and they are getting blasted right now. The Shockers are pretty much all gone, and Destroyers just need to be too close to mortars to be good as well.
Yeah, I did not like that fight by Haluk. I feel like that was never really going to go his way. Mortars are just incredibly good against his tier 2 combo. And I actually think we are in a bit of trouble. Maybe we should have gone tier 3 immediately. Maybe we could have still swapped back into air and then also forced Indy to start worrying about that. Because I just don't see Shocker Destroyer beat Mortar.
No. I just... This is not a good answer to the mortars unless... The mortars are very out of position, but obviously Indy can just slow push them, and already you can see trades like this are going very well for him. Yes, he's got some scorpions on the other side, but he has a mortar there and a couple of reinforcements, clean it up. And now this third base is in trouble, and you cannot really be affording to just lose your third base.
Yep. We saw Haluk fire up air attack there, Star Forge, but that's just a little bit too late. Indy strikes back and takes the 2-1 lead in his best of 7. Was in a tiny bit of trouble. I was wondering if there was a moment where maybe the blink guys could have gotten on top of the mortars when they were in very low numbers. And we also had that scorpion run by in the natural, but once we let the mortar count go up and we didn't have that next phase for Haluk, he didn't go tier 3, he didn't go air immediately. Like, if we embrace the tier 2 Foundry battle, that's always going to go to Mortar's way there. Mortars will just not lose against Destroyer and Shocker. Unless there's obviously a very bad play. But Indy is a gamer, Wardy. We've already covered that. He's not going to make too many big errors.
Nope. Indy was one of the better guys when we first started playing this as well. He was very quick to pick it up. Was absolutely in there trying out all the different units. He was the original King Crab pusher as well, so...
A long time ago, when we got a little sneak peek at Battle Aces over in Los Angeles, Indy was one of the first guys to make Artosis rage with nothing but King Crabs. And Artosis was raging with or without a camera. Sitting there, he's like, stupid Indy, stupid King Crab and Joe. This is all he does. And Indy's just smiling. He's like, King Crabs are so good. That was a beautiful day over in LA.
That was a great one. King Crabs were actually very good back. They were even better than they are now, and they're still seeing a pretty decent amount of play. So,
I mean, a lot of things have changed, right? We were able to play a tiny bit a while ago as well. And then I remember that I think butterflies were absolutely busted, man. Like, no matter how many tier 1s I had, I just got completely blasted by them. I feel like they must have changed those as well. Or I was just really bad back then. But I have the feeling that I was playing for a bit against one guy who was just playing recall into butterfly, and I could not beat it for the life of me.
yeah. Butterfly, I'm with you. I think the butterflies were actually some of the initially stronger air units that we had.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, they still deal crazy damage, and they're great for harassment, but they die very, very quickly against basically every sort of anti-air.
Yep, they do. As we get another game coming up then. Any changes to the deck? Yes, Indigo's recall, shockers, and advanced recalls on the Starforge tech. We actually have Mammoths available now from Haluk as well, which I do not believe we had before. That's obviously, he had the Falcons before, right? So he swapped those out. Mammoths available means he's got a better option via the Starforge against Mortars.
And it feels like then he's absolutely going to go the Starforge route. It just makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I just feel like his tier 2 Foundry tech, even if Indy swaps out one unit, gets another one, the Mortars are still there. And I have a hard time believing it's going to look very different. Now, of course, we could try to change the tempo of the game, where we push with the shockers, and then we do have a follow-up tech immediately, and we have a plan B or even a plan C. But yeah, that plan of the third game that we just saw, that's just not going to work. Unless you YOLO blink forward when the mortar count is very low, and you close your eyes, and you just somehow hope you kill enough mortars. I like the idea of playing it different. He is going to go 3-base against Indy's 3-base. This might be a moment where Indy could justify playing 4 bases before attacking. I would not hate it.
Might be kind of wild, but yeah, maybe that's the kind of route you can go. Of course, that's kind of where recalls can be very powerful when you can just get silly amount of bases up. They have the ability to play around and defend all of them, so you can absolutely make it work. So, possibility for sure as our Blink Scorpion army pulls back against that group of recalls.
Yep, there is a 4th base before attacking coming out of India. I like it. Okay, he's going to be a bit out of position, but obviously we can teleport towards the top left. Does he have enough right now? I mean, I feel like Haluk a tiny bit indecisive, and he does go the Starforge route, Wardy.
Yep, he does indeed. So I'm kind of with you because I think he's a bit afraid of the mortars. But if he goes into the Starforge, I actually really love for Indy just kind of going advanced recalls. We are going to take a great fight on these recalls and a little bit of trouble, huh?
Yep, I love that defensive link there, waiting for the Scorpions to show up, and Indy's gonna have to go away for a second. Indy can always change his mind and still come back, but that is incredibly risky, because if he loses another fight with the recalls, he's in so much trouble, as Haluk is also gonna go up to 4 bases now in the bottom right. Indy, I don't think he's really gonna be able to gun down this space. He just misses like a couple. I mean, that is serious damage, but with a forward blink or two, actually, Indy is gonna get it. Oh man, Indy with the full send.
There's always such a feels bad when you're playing against the recalls, and it's like you kill a base that they took early, and you're like, nice, now I've got the advantage. And it's like, no, he got my base, and obviously that's so good. But actually, essentially double expanding here, so going up to 4 bases is Haluk. And as you do see, the tech very close to being online from Indy. Scorpion's going to hit his natural at the same time. We'll see what he builds. I'd love to just, I think, see advanced recalls. He's got so much money to spend, and he is up against mostly just the Mammoths. I think the advanced recalls will be great there, and that's exactly what he builds. Recalls them in, and they are going to blast.
Yep, they are so good. I have sometimes a bit of trouble when I see a whole bunch of guys teleport in to figure out like how many of them are the advanced recalls, how many of them are the basics ones. Like, even though they obviously look different, the advanced recalls are a little bit thinner, but when that animation goes down with the teleport, I find it sometimes a little bit hard to figure out if this is a fight I can or can absolutely not take. Indy's got a 44 supply lead, by the way, but he's gonna have a hard time, I think, taking out the Mammoths, but Mammoths don't kill everything very quickly.
Yeah, I think he's actually going to be okay once he's able to just right-click them down. Like you say, it's not like the Mammoths are providing splash damage, they're just mega tanky, which is exactly what the advanced recalls just do not care about at all. As you're going to see them jumping onto and killing off this base. There goes that 3rd base, once again denied. And now we're actually going to start working our way down to the bottom side, and we might even be able to recall. What we're going to do, actually, he's going to dive for the natural even, so a little bit of a different approach here.
He's going to be forced to teleport home, though. I wonder if he teleports half his army. I think that Indy can teleport like half and he'll still be fine. That's exactly what he does. He might need a tiny bit more. Indy, you're going to need a little bit more than that. But he just wants to take out the natural of his opponent. He has done that. And here comes the rest of the army. Indy putting on a clinic here with the recalls and advanced recalls. Well done. Really turned this game around. And it all started with that snipe of that base in the center of the map. I thought Haluk was going to be able to save it if he would have just blinked immediately a couple of times and ran everything he had towards the center. He was a bit too late. He has tacked up to tier 2 foundry. Indy is going to have to now battle a little bit without mortars. But even if Indy loses a base, I still think I like the game for him.
Yep. No, I think it's very good for Indy. Just across the board, he's going to kill this base here. He's just got so much control now as well, right? Is what this comes down to. And yeah, these shockers are finally going to be a bit of a better answer to the advanced recalls. Going to absolutely blast through those. So that's the first fight we've really won in a while, and obviously there's a lot more to be done to drag yourself back into this one.
Yep, and Indy realizing, like, wait a minute, I'm not forced to just play ground. I have gun Starforge, I have airships. Airships may not be much, but if there are only shockers that you have to worry about, then you're gonna have a good time. Now we have, I think, a little bit of, do we have tier 1 anti-air? No. The only anti-air that Haluk can make are airships himself. But playing airship against airship when your opponent has a 1 base advantage, that seems impossible. He's in so much trouble here. Yep,
no, there's almost no way as Mortar's gonna get jumped on mind, and so they go down, and yeah, that's gonna be a very good fight. That's absolutely where you can succeed. As yeah, supply of Indy is still good overall, but you know, it's the airships that just aren't gonna be answered by anything. Like, they will just be able to kind of ping away. Indy losing a little bit on his natural as well, but I think overall he's gonna play cleanup. It's 2 bases against 2 bases now. Yeah, but he has air control. I think air control just goes more than anything else.
I think if you're Indy here, you make nothing but airships. And then I think you're still going to be fine. He did lose a couple of workers, I believe, in the actually. Yeah, just 3. I don't think that's quite enough to make up. Shall we count airships very quickly? Like, if I'm Indy, he made a whole bunch of recall shockers. Yeah, that's cool. But I actually think the easiest way to win this game is just by spamming pure airship. Because Haluk does not have any other anti-air.
Yep, it'd be different if Haluk had a different like tier 1 anti-air units and like maybe pure airship doesn't do it, but like in this case, you can always just have more airships. So yeah, 100% with you.
That would have been the easy way for Indy. Indy has decided to go for a hard way. This is actually a bit risky, by the way, because obviously the airships cannot recall with the rest of the army. So Indy is going to get on top of this base and he will absolutely kill it. Is he then going to try to recall home? Are we going to get a good old-fashioned base trade here, Wardy? I think we're base trading. I think we're full sending it.
It looks like we're going to dive in. We need to right-click that core. You do not want to waste time on anything else. The mortar going down, and now we need to not go for workers, though, surely.
He's got money, though. Look, Haluk is going to maybe build a couple recall, like shockers to get some big hits off, but it's just a little bit late. It is a little bit late. How much damage has he done on the other side of the map? He's working on it. It is just too late. It's Indy who takes the 3-1 lead.
Cores are dying now, man. I mentioned cores hadn't really died too much, and I was just seeing cores die constantly.
I like the idea what Haluk did that towards the end. He was saving up a bit of money, and instead of like spamming 1 unit at a time, he's like, I'm just gonna try to get like 5 shockers at once and hope I get some devastating hits off. The only problem is just that the army is right on top of it, right? And then shockers just die so quick as well. And Indy just started all of that a tiny bit quicker. Did more damage on the core. Maybe like if we first build like 1 or 2 mammoths just to be tanky, right, by time, and then we spend our remaining money on like 2-3 shockers, maybe that would have gone a tiny bit better for Haluk. I don't know if there was a way to win that base trade.
Nope. I don't know if there was. I think that might have just been a little bit tough. A little bit too tough through and through. As we get ready for Game 5. Indy dropped the first game, Roddy, but he has just been really convincing throughout the earlier mid-games. Kind of ever since.
Yeah, there was a crucial call there, right, to give up on that 4th base, because that fight in the top left was not a good fight for the recallers. But Indy did a good job getting out of there, sacrificing it, and then he ran to the across the center. I didn't think he was going to be able to that easily gun down the 3rd base of Haluk, but yeah, he managed to snipe it in time right before the units of Haluk showed up. And then it was just kind of a base for a base, but then it just overall looked a bit better for Indy. Because he was being able to get much more value out of those bases and just had a bigger army, had a slightly better economy. Fun stuff, a fun series so far. Let's see what Game 5 brings. As Haluk says, all right, recall is pretty good. I'm going to play them too.
Yeah, he's going to go recall and recall hunters. Also recall shockers, behemoths mixed in there, and destroyers. Wow, completely switch the deck real across the board. Indy is going to have himself Mammoths now also, so he's going to have Mammoths, which probably aren't going to get much play if Destroyers are available from his opponent. But he might not need to play into the air at all anymore. Looking at what Haluk has, I don't think air is going to be as much of a threat at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have Dragonflies. I see some Dragonflies, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of worried for Haluk because if he doesn't play air, I think he kind of has to play air, because if he doesn't play air, he's just going to lose against Mortars again. I mean, Recall Shockers are incredibly freaking slow, and I just don't see how he beats Mortars if he doesn't play air.
I guess that's true. I guess if you go Mortars, you have to play air and play Mammoths.
Yeah, and let's just see. We're going to base trade a little bit here. I kind of like the idea of just buying some time. You really don't want to donate any of your recallers, though. They are strong tier 1. He loses one of them, but they are expensive. We gotta be taking area. I feel like if we go ground, we are almost. Oh, he goes ground.
I think he does. Honestly, fast third base with recalls against a mortar push is so difficult to hold, because the recalls have no way to fight mortars, right? Like, how do you ever get a recall unit in range of a mortar without just being blasted? So this push from India is going to be very good, and I absolutely understand that he does not bother with the third base at all. He's just going to build purely mortars here, and he's just going to send it, and I think he's completely right to, because if they get in position, he's going to own that side of the map, and it's going to be very hard to just recover from that, so I don't like the threat
of counterattacks either, because his opponent has mostly slow units. We don't have to worry about walls, we don't have to worry about gunbots or scorpions, and he's going to have to disengage. I do like what Haluk is doing here, forcing Indy to siege away very far. He gets one more. They might even get a second one. He gets a third one too. He loses a lot of recallers. Hey, sniping 3 is pretty good. Maybe his dream is that Indy sieges up like very, very close and he snipes all of them. It's going to be so hard. These are the scariest seconds. Here come the mortars of Indy.
Yeah, I mean, that was, don't get me wrong, absolutely brilliant start, but I think that's as good as it's going to get. You can see now he doesn't have the numbers, and so this third base will die. And, well, we build a whole bunch of recall shockers. I don't know how they trade against the mortars. I guess we're about to find out. The thing is, those are very slow to fire. Like, they pack a punch, but once they've shot, they just stand around for a long time recharging.
I think he's just hoping that Indy is stubborn and sieges the mortars up right next to the base, but that doesn't quite happen. Here come all those recall shockers, a couple of big shots, but in the end there are still so many mortars. And mortars reign supreme on the ground. I think that's a dub for Indy, Waddy.
I think so too. Those recall shockers really had to do something. That they had to at least break out of this. Then you could maybe still have a game on your hands. They just don't do good enough. They don't get rid of the mortars quickly enough, and that's going to be GG's. Indy showing up in this series, huh?
Fell 0-1 against his viewer, but turned it around and won 4-1 in the end. Some great recall plays there by Indy. Would have loved to maybe see Haluk go for those Dragonflies here in the final game. If you saw how much time he bought initially with the recallers, that was very good recaller play at first. At one point we made an adventurous dive. This was right before his tier 2 Foundry came online as well. Maybe if he would have just saved those units or even let that base die for a split second. Because the initial snipe on the 3 mortars on Indy's side of the map was fantastic, but well done Indy. That means that it's 1-1 between the challengers and the caster aces, Waddy.
Caster ace is fighting back, Roddy. Thankfully, I mean, it really looked scary for us at the start of that series, but we're back on track.
Indy riding, that was stressful. Congrats on the dub, Indy. Congrats on the dub. All right, so we are getting ready for, well, we can take a little break. Obviously, we had 2 best of 7s. I think overall that's a solid moment to take a tiny break.
Sure.
And it's going to, they have an opponent for Marmello. It's Marmello versus, you know the name?
O&O's.
O&O's? Is
yeah,
that how we're going to call him as well?
Well, he's OW. Yeah, I think it's O-Nose.
O-Nose.
Like O-W-E-N-O-S-E. It's either you O&O's or O&O's.
I feel like we're not going to get anywhere. It would be awesome if we get a different name for it. All right. I'll mute you for a little bit, mate, and I'll see you in a couple minutes.
Yeah, see you in a bit, man. Hey guys, we're just going to be muted. I'm just going to, BRB, I'm just going to leave us on this screen. I'm not feeling too hot today, hence no camera and stuff, but yeah, obviously I'll just take a moment here. We'll come back and some more battle aces coming up.